able to see their families, but only through a glass window. So just some really positive, happy breaking news to bring you that the rescue operation of these 12 boys and their coach is now complete. Now we are just waiting for the doctor and 3 Thai Navy SEALs to emerge from this cave. Just to recap for you, they went missing on June 23rd, missing on June 23rd. So that's 18 days ago they've been missing. They were then discovered around 10 days after that. They hadn't eaten in such a long time. But now, you know, they have emerged from the cave. Again, we are waiting for the doctor and 3 Thai Navy SEALs to emerge from that cave. I want to focus now on just the kind of medical treatment the boys will need. I want to bring in CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Sanjay Gupta, who is live for us from New York. Sanjay, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm sure you, like everybody else, has been following this story very, very closely. And here at CNN, our hearts are just singing, given the positive news we can bring our audience this morning. So just walk us through in terms of the kinds of medical treatment these boys are getting, because from what I understand, and I just said this to our audience, they can actually see their families, but only through a glass window. They can't actually have any physical contact with them. I assume that's because of the risk of infection. Just walk us through that.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. It's the risk of infection. I mean, the first, you take care of the basics, you know, and the doctors, the nurses, because they've known what's been going on with these boys. They've known the timeline. They've had some idea of what the conditions have been like. They can predict how best to care for these boys coming into the hospital. You know, the hypothermia, dehydration, degree of malnutrition. There's also this concern about infections. You know, you're living in this cave literally for more than 2 weeks. You're exposed to things. There's certain fungus spores, for example, that are in the air that people can breathe in, causing lung infections. As far as the quarantine goes, to your question, it's really a little bit more of a different answer there, and that is that when you're in a situation like this for a couple of weeks, not exposed to the natural elements, not exposed to natural daylight, your body's metabolism, your body's physiology starts to change a bit. You know, your circadian rhythms are off. Certain things in the body are turned way up, certain things turned down. Your immune system, for example, may not be as robust, as well able to handle some sort of infection. So what would otherwise be an easy to fight infection could be more dangerous for these kids, at least for the next few days. And that's why the quarantine is in place. It is an abundance of caution, but an important one. So we wouldn't want an infection to complicate things further at this point.
Yeah, I imagine for the parents just staring through their kids through the glass window, the glass screen. Obviously, you know, they've been through so much, these parents. Just the idea of not seeing your children for about 18 days, finally having the good news that they've been found, finally having the good news that they're out, and all you want to do is just give them a massive hug and kiss, and you can't, but you understand that it's for their own good, that it's for their own safety. So we've talked now about the physical health of these children. What about the mental health? I mean, just being trapped in an underground cave, not knowing if you're ever going to come out alive, must be mentally excruciating as well. What are they going through mentally right now?
I think it's going to be mentally excruciating probably for some time to come. I mean, look, if you look at the Chilean miners, for example, and a lot of people have been talking to them recently, given what's happened in Thailand, and, you know, 8 years later, some of these miners still talk about the post-traumatic stress. I think a lot of it is going to be dependent on how, you know, the coach and these divers and everybody interacted with these kids. Some as young as 11 during the time of the rescue. Was this seen as a potentially ominous thing that could lead to death? Or was the attitude always, this is an adventure, we're going to figure it out? You know, it depends a little bit. But nevertheless, they were in an enclosed space. Water was a real risk to them. They may have fear of these things. They had to subsequently go through water to be rescued, something that had just threatened their lives. So there's no question, and that's also very much a part of this acute hospitalization. This isn't just something that's off in the distance, we'll deal with it when we can get to it type thing. The psychological and emotional rehab part of it, I'm sure, is happening, you know, in earnest as well.
You know, when I was watching this earlier, just before coming on air, I got completely lost. I mean, normally before a show, I'm like making notes, you know, figuring out what sort of questions I want to ask. This time, just watching, I just got completely lost. Like I was just so emotional and so happy because we've all been following this story very, very closely since June 23rd, and we've had a mix of emotions. Obviously, it wasn't so long ago. I think it was last week that the diver died, the Navy SEAL diver died, and our hearts just sank. And now we are all happy again. And everyone's saying that he didn't sacrifice his life in vain because now these kids are out of that cave alive
Saved
and
a
healthy.
lot of lives. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Okay, Sanjay Gupta, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break on the back of this breaking news. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
It is easy to fall in love with Bulgaria. Nature has blessed us with 4 beautiful seasons. Our land is a source of inspiration. One marvelous sea, over 30 magical mountains. They hear and preserve our stories.
In order to have a healthy mindset, we need young people to be educated on the value of physical fitness. It's really important for all of us as women to create the opportunity to participate in sports. It's the fact that there are many women that makes this journey so inspiring. Determination.